To our first topic tonight, as we begin in the NFL with the matchup on Sunday Night Football. It's Justin Herbert and the L.A Chargers traveling a little up north to take on Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 7 points. It's an 8:20 kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 45.5. We got Brandon Staley versus Kyle Shanahan. And I want to start off with the L.A. Chargers. So the L.A. Chargers, they're 5-3 on the season. And so far this season, I don't believe the Chargers have played their best football yet. You look at their schedule this season. Week 1, they beat Derek Carr and the Raiders 24-19. But I'm not going to put much emphasis on that win because the Raiders are a mess. Week 2, they lost to the Chiefs 27-24, but they battled in that game, but they couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes when it mattered the most. Week 3, they got blown off the field against Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that was a disappointing performance. Week 4, they beat the Texans 34-24, but the Texans are tanking. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. Week 5, they struggled, but they did beat the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland 30-28. Week 6, they beat the Denver Broncos in L.A. That was that Monday night matchup, 19-16. But the Denver Broncos, they've been a mess so far this season. So that win doesn't qualify as a significant win. And then week 7, they lost to the Seattle Seahawks. We know how great Pete Carroll has the Seattle Seahawks playing right now. They are one of the more surprising teams in the NFL. And they had their bye week in week 8. Week 9, they barely beat the Atlanta Falcons. In Atlanta, they won 20-17. So far this season, I haven't been impressed with the Chargers. Now, I do know how capable the Chargers are of being an AFC contender. This is a team that has Justin Herbert at quarterback. And you look at Justin Herbert for the season, Justin Herbert got 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He got 2,254 passing yards. He's completing 64% of his passes. But remember, this Chargers team, they've been without Keenan Allen majority of the season. Mike Williams, their other receiver, he's been banged up as well. So his status for this game is currently unknown. So they've been dealing with a lot of injuries on this Chargers team, and that's probably the reason why they haven't had a signature win yet. I haven't seen the Chargers have a signature win, but it's more than likely because their receivers in Keenan Allen, in Mike Williams, have been banged up. And Austin Eckler leads their team in total receptions for the season. So he's been their best receiver. He's their running back. So that tells you everything you need to know about the struggles for the Chargers in the first 8 games of the season. They already had their bye week in week 8. So I'm waiting on them to have a complete performance and have a signature win. They're going to get their chance against the San Francisco 49ers, a Super Bowl contender in the NFC. But again, I think that Justin Herbert is a quarterback that you can win with in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl with. I love Herbert's arm strength. I love his accuracy at throwing the football down the field. I love his athleticism, but Herbert hasn't gotten into the postseason yet. And that's why I can't include him in that conversation with Joe Burrow, with Lamar Jackson, with Josh Allen, with Patrick Mahomes. Now, Herbert has the talent to be in that conversation, but he hasn't made the playoffs yet. And in order for you to be an elite quarterback, in my eyes, you have to at least have one playoff appearance on your resume. Jalen Hurts got the Eagles to the playoffs last year. So I think the Chargers are a team in the AFC that can still make some noise. if they get to the postseason and if they get some players back and they are healthy. But in the first 8 games of their season, I haven't been impressed. Now, you switch gears to the 49ers. The 49ers, they had a lot of players return back to practice this week. Elijah Mitchell, their running back, returned back to practice. Deebo Samuel, he was out in their last game against the Rams. He returned back to practice this week. Also, defensively, they're going to get back Armstead. He came back to practice. So they got a lot of players who have came back and is trying to get in the mix for the stretch run. And I believe the 49ers, top to bottom, have one of the most complete rosters in the NFL. The only questions that we have about the 49ers is about Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G is the only question that we have when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers. They got an elite coach in Kyle Shanahan. We know Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play callers in the NFL. At receiver, you got Deebo Samuel, a top 10 receiver. At tight end, you got George Kittle, a top 3 tight end in the NFL. Defensively, they got a top 5 defense in the NFL. They got Bosa. They got Armstead. At linebacker, they got Fred Warner. So this 49ers team overall is one of the most complete teams in the NFL. And they are battle tested. They went to the Super Bowl a few years ago against the Kansas City Chiefs. They were in the NFC Championship game last season. So this 49ers team is battle tested, and they know what it takes to win in the postseason. But in this matchup, when it comes to the 49ers offense versus the Chargers defense, it is strength versus weakness, because the 49ers, their rushing attack is one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. And they do it by committee. Elijah Mitchell, if he comes back to action, you're going to add him to a backfield that already has Jeff Wilson. And this 49ers rushing attack with Christian McCaffrey, with Jeff Wilson, with Elijah Mitchell, it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. And remember, in the 49ers Week 8 win over the L.A. Rams, Christian McCaffrey, he threw for a touchdown pass, he ran for a touchdown pass, and he rushed for a touchdown score as well. So this 49ers team is loaded. And well, when you talk about their rushing attack going up against this Chargers defense, the Chargers defense, they allow 5.7 yards per rush. That's ranked last in the NFL. And the 49ers, they average 120 rushing yards per game. It's only ranked 15th in the NFL, but we know how dynamic that rushing attack is with Elijah Moore, with Christian McCaffrey, with Jeff Wilson. So that's going to be a key in this matchup. Can the Chargers defense slow down that elite 49ers running game? Defensively for the Chargers, they got Kyle Van Noy. They got Drew Tranquil at linebacker. They got the Mac Daddy himself, Khalil Mack. In their secondary, they got Darwin James. They got Michael Davis. They got Asante Samuel. So this Chargers defense has pieces to be a decent to good defense. Now, they did lose their free agent, Jesse Jackson, that they signed earlier in the offseason. They did lose him to a season-ending injury. But the Chargers defense is more than capable of being a top 10 defense in the NFL. Now, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa's brother, is going to be out in this game. He's on IR still. I was excited to see Joey Bosa versus Nick Bosa, but we're not going to see it because Joey's still dealing with some injuries. But again, this Chargers defense, they have to stop the run if they want to have any chance at upsetting the San Francisco 49ers. This line being 7 points is disrespectful to the L.A. Chargers. I believe this is a disrespectful line if you're the L.A. Chargers. Like, you got to look at this like, what? They think they're 7 points better than us? So guess what? I'm going to roll with Justin Herbert and the L.A. Chargers to upset Christian McCaffrey and the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. I'm going Chargers 24, 49ers 21. I got Chargers with the upset in Santa Clara.